So, you sent over this video script, and it's called Shadow of the Upload, right? And I got to say, the thing that really hooked me was how it takes this, seemingly simple plot, and it turns it into this, like, showcase of clever script writing,
Mhm.
especially with how it just nails that surprise twist.
Hmm.
So I figured for this deep dive, we should, like, totally unpack how the story, like, unfolds,
Yeah.
what makes the script so engaging.
Yeah, no, for sure. When I first saw Shadow of the Upload, I was like, wow, this is like a mini masterclass in suspense. The way it builds that tension and then bam, delivers this emotional punch through the plot and that tight script.
Hmm.
It's really something. Even though it's short, it really sticks with you.
Okay, so let's jump into the visuals. Like right from the start, it throws you into this like super vivid scene, right? Neon lit cityscape, cyberpunk, dawn. You can like practically feel that contrast, between the sun coming up and this kind of grimy, tech-heavy world underneath. It's more than just setting the scene, though, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's not just about looking cool. You hit it on the head, that contrast. It's like this core tension you see in a lot of cyberpunk stories, right? Technology versus like decay, progress versus, societal problems. And that sunrise, which is usually like hopeful, feels kind of ominous here, doesn't it? Like a warning that things aren't what they seem. Then you've got those holographic billboards, Japanese characters mixed with the corporate logos. It's that blend of future tech and cultural influences, super efficient world building, and a clear nod to one of the script's inspirations, Rising Sun.
And then we're in this penthouse. Minimalist, high-tech, it feels so sterile, so controlled, but you can already sense something's off, like something's about to go down. And those windows, those huge floor-to-ceiling windows, they keep framing that sunrise. It's like this beautiful natural event is watching something dark unfold.
Mm.
Would you call that like a visual uh, motif?
You got it. The sunrise, it is a recurring visual motif. And you nailed why motifs work. They start as part of the scenery, and as the story goes on, they take on this whole other meaning, right? Like here, it ends up being this almost apocalyptic burst of light. The script uses that contrast, clean inside versus maybe chaotic outside, to amp up the tension.
Totally. Okay, so now we meet our two main players. Kira, right? Sharp suit, all corporate power. You instantly know she's used to being in charge. And then there's Jax. Wiry courier, but you can tell he's carrying more than just data. You know what I mean? The power dynamic between them is so obvious right off the bat. Kira's demanding, Jax is struggling, physically struggling. How does the script establish that so fast?
The script's really good at introducing characters quickly. With Kira, it's the dialogue. Cold, direct, no nonsense. Every line she says reinforces her dominance. Then you have Jax. We see his physical discomfort, how he hesitates when he responds. He's vulnerable from the start, and we know that whatever he's carrying is not your average data package. The script lays out the stakes clearly, merger codes in exchange for Jax's life. Classic setup, but done really well.
But then Jax adds this wrinkle. He says it's not just data, it's too much, and that it's causing him pain, physical pain. That's such a great way to hint that there's way more going on than just corporate secrets, right? Like, what makes that kind of vague but intense details such a good hook?
That line about the data being too much is foreshadowing done right. It gives just enough detail to make us curious. We know it's not a simple data transfer. This information is affecting Jax, like on a physical level. It makes us want to figure out what's really going on.
And Kira's reaction is so telling. She whips out this neural extractor. It's sleek, but kind of brutal looking, and she's so matter-of-fact about it. It's chilling. You really see how cold she is, how little she cares about Jax as a person. How does this one action both move the plot forward and show us who Kira is?
Yeah, bringing in the neural extractor ramps up the danger, right? It adds that layer of tech-driven threat. Very Johnny Mnemonic, which the notes mention as an influence. Kira offering to just rip the data out of Jax shows how dehumanizing this world is. Information is everything, even if it costs a human life. It solidifies Kira as the antagonist, makes her later shock that much more impactful.
But Jax, he doesn't give in, and that's where the real mystery starts to unfold. He starts talking about faces, voices, memories, stuff that's not his. It's a really vivid image, and it's the first real clue that this is about something deeply personal, something with a lot of emotion behind it. What's so important about shifting from data to these sensory details?
That's the turning point. By having Jax describe the data using these human terms, like you said, faces, voices, memories, the script starts to change our expectations. It's not just a regular corporate espionage story anymore. It suggests something way more complex, maybe even dangerous, than just codes or plans. It sets the stage for the twist and makes us rethink what Kira really wants.
And Kira, she just brushes it off. A courier with a conscience. She calls him a mule, not a martyr. It's brutal, but it tells us so much about her and the world they live in. Empathy is weakness, right? Corporate power comes first.
Mm.
How does this dismissal make the twist even better?
That dismissive attitude is important for a few reasons. One, it makes her the bad guy, makes her eventual shock and downfall more satisfying for us watching. Two, it highlights the bigger picture. People like Jax are disposable in this world, they're tools. That disregard for human life makes the twist even more powerful because the data Jax is carrying is so personal, so human.
Then we get this flashback. It's short, but it hits hard. It's inside Jax's head, and it's all these quick images. A boardroom, shadowy figures, a woman screaming, then Mount Fuji, sunrise, but there's blood too. And this feeling of encrypted data being forced into his brain, it's like sensory overload, but in a good way. How does the script pull off conveying so much in such a short time?
That flashback is visual storytelling done right. Using that quick montage of images and sounds, it replicates what it must be like to have those memories implanted. It's a ton of backstory and emotion packed into a few seconds, hinting at violence, forced transfer of sensitive information. It definitely brings in that rising sun vibe, all that corporate intrigue and hidden secrets.
And snap, we're right back in the penthouse. Kira is getting impatient, the threat's still hanging in the air. You feel the pressure building. How does the script keep that tension going right up to the reveal?
It's the pacing and the dialogue. Kira's getting more demanding, reminding Jax what's at stake. But she's totally clueless about what's really going on, and we know it. It's dramatic irony. We're waiting for that moment when her expectations clash with reality, and it just makes the suspense build.
And then boom, Jax drops that line. He whispers, "It's not codes, it's her." The way his voice changes, that hushed tone, it makes you lean in like something huge is about to happen. What makes that one line so perfect for setting up the twist?
That line is the whole turning point. It completely changes everything we thought was going on. The whisper, it tells us this information is dangerous, important. It creates a pause before the twist hits. Both Kira and the audience have to rethink everything.
Kira's reaction is perfect. Dead silence, then her voice trembling. "What did you say?" Just that simple question, but you can tell her world is crumbling. What does her reaction say about how well the twist works?
Her not believing it, it's like our own shock as the audience. That simple question, it shows that what Jax is saying just doesn't fit into her reality. The script hid the truth so well, and it makes the impact that much stronger.
And then Jax, he lays it all out. He says it's Kira's sister, the one who was supposedly killed. That her memories, the truth about her murder, it's all in this data. And then that final accusation, "You gave the order." That's the gut punch, isn't it?
It is. That's where the twist really pays off. It's not just info, it's a person, her memories, the truth about how she died. The stakes get so much higher, way more personal, even ethical. And saying Kira gave the order, it flips everything. Jax isn't just a courier anymore. He's got the power now. It's amazing plot construction.
Kira's reaction is so vivid, it's like you're seeing it. She freezes, she's trembling, stumbles back. And that sunrise, it's getting brighter, almost blinding. It's like a visual representation of what's going on inside her.
Yeah.
Shock, guilt, the horror of it all. How do those visuals add to the emotional impact?
That sunrise at that moment, it's a powerful metaphor. It's like the sudden, harsh light being shown on the truth. And like the narrator said at the beginning, it's not healing, it's burning. Kira freezing, trembling, those are physical reactions to what she's just learned. Her whole world just shattered.
And Jax, even though he's in pain, he grins, this like grim, almost triumphant grin. And he says, "She's the payload, Kira. And she's screaming for you." The power shift is complete. He's not a victim anymore. He's like a weapon. What makes that line so impactful?
That line, it changes the whole game. The payload isn't just data, it's Kira's sister, her memories, her consciousness, and saying she's screaming for you. It adds that a whole other layer, something almost supernatural. This started as a corporate thing, now it's about revenge, justice, something haunting. That grin Jax gives, it's like he's getting grin satisfaction seeing Kira break.
Then everything goes haywire. Static bursts, lights flicker, Kira collapses. It's like the tech itself is reacting to all this emotional overload, like it's mirroring what's happening inside the characters.
Exactly. The static, the lights, it's all externalizing the chaos that's going on internally. The tech, the thing that defines this world, it can't handle the truth. Kira collapsing shows how hard this hits her, maybe even physically.
And then, that last image. Jax's neural implant, it flashes red, then white. So many questions left unanswered. What do you think the script is doing with that final detail?
Ending on that flashing implant, it's intentional. It's meant to make you think. It could mean a bunch of things, right? Maybe the memories are being released. Maybe Jax is shutting down. Maybe his mind is merging with the data. That mystery is what sticks with you. It makes you think about memory, tech, identity, all that.
Those exploding windows and then the sunrise, it just fills the screen. It takes us right back to the beginning, doesn't it? That line about the sun rising not to heal, but to burn. It's such a strong visual way to end it. How does that imagery add to the overall message?
It's like a full circle, right? It brings closure, but it also shows how destructive the truth can be. That sunrise, it was just the background at first. Now it's part of the destruction.
Hmm.
It represents how Kira's world just got blown apart by this secret. It's a powerful ending, really drives home the consequences of what she's done.
And then that title card. Shadow of the Upload, the truth is the twist. So blunt, so in your face about the main plot device.
Yeah, it's like the script winking at the audience. It highlights that twist, how it drives the whole story. It's simple but effective. Makes you remember what made the script so good.
I like how the notes mention those key influences. Rising sun for the corporate stuff, the Japanese feel, all those secrets. And then Johnny Mnemonic for the cyberpunk setting, the implants, the whole idea of memory as a commodity. It's interesting how the script blends all that together. What does it tell us about the writer to see those influences?
Seeing those influences is like peeking into the writer's mind. You see what themes they were interested in. Mixing the corporate thriller stuff from Rising Sun with that dark, tech-heavy world from Johnny Mnemonic creates this unique setting for a story about betrayal and revenge. It shows the writer knows the genre, but they also want to do something new with it.
So, for you listening, as you're thinking about how stories are made, what are some takeaways from how Shadow of the Upload uses plot and script to create such a powerful experience?
Shadow of the Upload is a great example of how to surprise your audience. The script sets everything up so carefully, those little details, the characters, and then bam, it flips everything with that big reveal. It shows that sometimes the best stories are the ones where you don't see the ending coming. And think about how the script uses dialogue and visuals. It creates atmosphere, moves the plot along. Every element serves a purpose.
It really shows how important those visual details are, right? The cityscape, the penthouse, that sunrise, the implant flashing, it all works together to make that twist hit harder. It's not just about what the characters say.
No, you're right. Those visuals are a huge part of the storytelling. Everything from that oppressive cityscape to the clean lines of the penthouse to the symbolic sunrise. They create the mood, foreshadow what's going to happen, and make those emotions stronger. Imagine that scene without those specific visuals, it wouldn't be the same.
It makes you think about other stories, doesn't it? Stories where some hidden truth, some buried personal history becomes the thing that changes everything. It reminds us that even a simple plot can have a lot going on beneath the surface.
Totally. It's a good reminder that there are often layers to a story, things hidden just out of sight. And when those hidden truths are revealed, it can completely change how we see the characters and their motivations. That's what makes a story compelling, no matter the genre.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Shadow of the Upload, it makes you think, right? In a world obsessed with data, with everything being stored digitally, what other kinds of payloads are out there? Not just information, but deeply personal stuff. What stories are hidden in our digital footprints? What are the ethical implications? It's a pretty thought-provoking question.
It really is. It makes you wonder about the data we create every day. What secrets, what truths are buried in there? Shadow of the Upload is a reminder that the line between the personal and the technological is blurring. And sometimes those two worlds collide in ways we never expect.